Hi guys, let me first of all welcome you to the channel. I hope you're having a good day. So today we're going to be talking about another compositional element in photography, and that's framing. If you want to access the other elements of the series, I'm going to put a link here for you to have a look at them. But in the meantime, let's concentrate on what framing is. So guys, stay tuned until towards the end of the video where I'll be showing you a more advanced type of framing. So framing is using natural elements around the subject to, as the name suggests, frame the subject or surround the subject. And this is done in order to focus the attention into the photo. So this can be used with vignettes. It can be used with leading lines. Again, check the link. But in our example today, we're talking about framing in terms of windows, doors, openings, etc., etc. Even tree lines can be used for framing the subject. So we're going to have a look at a few examples and let's see what we mean. So here is our first example of framing, and it's a natural frame. So as you can see, the eye is drawn into the center of the photo simply because instead of walking through the courtyard to the car, I've stayed back at the end of the courtyard through this tunnel and allowed the tunnel to be my natural frame in order to draw attention to the abandoned car at the other end of the courtyard. So here's another example of framing, and this image I think was taken while I was doing a photo walk in Poland, in Gdansk. As you can see, the eye is drawn from the darkness within the structure to what's going on outside, and I purposely stayed in the shadows because I could see this light coming through the doorway, and I just simply waited for an interesting subject to stop outside the doorway in order so I could frame them with this natural doorway. So the next example is a bit more obscure when it comes to framing, and I guess it's a bit more advanced, and it is also used with a deeper depth of field in order to blur, in order to blur certain elements in order to pull you in to the photo. So let's take a look. So here you have a more obscure type of frame where I've allowed the elements of light and also people to come between me and the subject in order to draw the attention into the singer. And as you notice that I've used a really shallow depth of field, so therefore the foreground becomes blur, bokeh as we call it, and that causes a frame to be around the subject. So let's take another look at framing, and this time instead of the whole thing being framed, we're going to be concentrating on horizontal framing, which can be very arty and still very useful and powerful. So let's take a look. Now as you can see, I've used the natural horizontal lines of the blind to draw attention to the lady's eyes. So the framing now is horizontal, and I've just allowed her to peep through the blinds. Again, framing doesn't need to be complicated, but it can be as complicated as you wish. And don't forget, the whole purpose of all these elements is to bring attention to a particular element within the photo. Framing can be another element in your compositional arsenal. So when it comes to your photography, you can make your images pop, stand out, and be different from everybody else. Guys, thank you for joining me today. And as always, like I always say, stay safe and of course, happy shooting. Bye bye.